Hello, everybody. Good morning and or good afternoon, depending on your time zone. We're very excited to be presenting this Power of Reporting in AkitaBox webinar. Couple of quick housekeeping items. We'll talk more about them in a second, but for any phone-in listeners, we will have some visual content today that we'll be showing. So feel free to jump in on the visual side of Zoom as well if you have access to a laptop, desktop, anything like that. We are also recording this webinar, so that'll come out to you in email after this concludes, so you can access that later if phone is your only option for you. We're excited to get this going. We at AkitaBox always want to provide the best kind of value and education for our customers, and we got a group together to think about what kind of things would be really awesome to drive some more transparency and information for everybody, and reporting was a pretty big one that we all decided would be really impactful. So we're excited to get this going. Reporting, as we're going to see, has a really amazing way to leverage data to full transparency. It's a way to tell a story with that data and make better informed decisions for your organizations. So we'll just jump right in. Today, you're going to be listening to me. I'm Patrick Nottingham. I'm a Customer Success Manager here at AkitaBox. We also have Tomissa and Jessica helping out as co-moderators. What you'll notice in the Zoom webinar area is a tab that says Q&A. If any point throughout this webinar you do have a question, you have two options. You can either let yourself be known and ask it as a person, or you can also have an anonymous option to ask questions. Those questions will go to Tomissa and Jessica. At the end of this webinar, we'll try to get through as many of those questions as we can. If we don't get to all of them, we will have your Customer Success Manager reach out with those answers, because we definitely want to make sure we're touching base on all the cool questions you guys have related to what we're going through. Like I said, this is being recorded for today. And there's another feature of this webinar that we're going to talk about right now, which is going to be a polling feature. So one thing we want to know from you is, currently with AkitaBox, what is your familiarity and use with the reporting? So this poll should pop up. Feel free to answer that. We'll get back into the results shortly. So feel free to answer that as we move on. You'll also notice up on this page that has my contact information and email, as well as Jessica's. Jessica happens to be our amazing support rock star, so if you ever have any software issues or needs, she can absolutely help out with that as well. So today what we're going to get diving into is the overview reporting, looking at the nuts and bolts of some of the things that we can do with the data you guys have in AkitaBox. We're also going to talk about some specific customer use cases, things that they have done to really drive more value and more power out of the data that they have and through the reporting feature. And then we're also going to talk real quick about a demo to sort of see how that reporting feature can work for us and get a little bit more in depth with some of those pieces of the reporting pie. At the very end, of course, we're going to get through as many questions and answers as we can. So we're going to dive first into that nice overview of reporting. As we get into that, we're going to take a look real quick about those results for the reporting. So I can see here, nice, it's a good spread. So about 23%, it's part of my daily use. 27% use it on occasion as needed. 31%, I know it's there, but I don't use it. That's awesome. We're gonna definitely talk about all the ways you can. And then AkitaBox has reporting? Why, yes, we do. And so that 19%, we're gonna show a whole new world for you, as Aladdin would say, into what AkitaBox reporting can do for us. So thank you for participating in that poll. And we will jump straight into the nuts and bolts of reporting. So in the reporting, and this will be bolstered a little bit when we get into the demo, there's a lot of intelligent, intuitive filters that allow you to take high-level snapshots of your data all the way into zeroing in on specific data pieces. Just this screenshot alone, we have 9 different ways we can slice up our data. We have dates that we can look at with filtering. We have priorities, assignings, types, and trades. This allows us to pick a specific piece of information we're looking for, and that'll then populate the reporting based off that information. We also have main headers for sources of how our work orders exist. So work orders, preventative, reactive, and service requests. any choices of these will affect the rest of the reporting you're looking at. So it gives you, again, that broad, I'm looking at everything and it's really important, all the way down to I'm narrowing down and then zeroing in on a specific person or a specific priority or a specific type or a specific source. Additionally, when we're looking at the reporting, we have all kinds of slicing and dicing of the data we can look at. It's nice to have assets, it's nice to have work orders going on, but not really knowing more details about them in a nice visual way kind of puts us at a disadvantage. So being able to look at filters and stacks, those are basically $25 words of how we can slice up that data. Filters is a nice way to look again at, a lot of this is pretty self-explanatory, the cost of that work, the hours logged, the numbers and ratios of completed, overdue, and duration of those work orders, and everything therein. Stacks are a really great way, and in the demo we'll show it visually, to see a little bit more detail about the specific data we're looking at. So again, assignee, priority, trade type, the building that that work order was handled, the source being, how it was created. Was it a preventative maintenance request? Was it a service request? Was it a work order itself? Ways to slice up that data. Each of these things are on every visual field of the reports that you look at. When we get into the demo, I'll highlight that a little bit. Reporting sections, you have basically each of these listed are going to be the reporting fields that you have available to you. So every section there is a visual graph that you can look at, get some information from. You can also print out and share with individuals. But it gives you, again, like I said, that high level look, everything from statistics of that work order being duration and frequency, all the way down to trades, types, various ways that that work order is being done. I did put a note next to the building. The building graph is available in the all buildings portion of the reporting section. If you go into an individual building, you'll still get all of those cool report sections. However, you won't have buildings in there because you're looking at just one building. Let's talk a little bit about some tales of reporting success, lauds and praises of some people who have done some really cool things. Like I said, it's really great to see a high level look at, okay, this is what my data is doing, this is what my work orders are doing, but how can I leverage that? How can I create stories, inform my decisions, make really impactful meaning for my workplace, my team, everything from the end user all the way up to the district superintendent, board of education, ways for transparency. So we'll talk a little bit about that. This one was from a K-12, an educational setting. Basically this person, and just for the purposes of all these use cases, I'm not using any customer data itself. I'm using screenshots from our training buildings, so no customer is having their data being shared currently with anybody, just so we're all on the same page. So this is kind of a mock setup. But this individual, this customer, they were seeing that, man, they had some rock stars on their team. They were knocking out work orders. They were doing great stuff. They were handling their work orders every day. They were just getting so many. Their work order duration was piling up. And so they use the ability to the statistics session, which is what you're seeing right now. They use this ability to show, hey, our team is doing work. They're doing lots of work and they're doing it really, really well. I have a great team, a great staff. However, I'm still not being able to pull the amount of work we need to do in order to effectively impact our K-12 district. So what they did is they pulled this, the graph together, they pulled this information, they printed it out, they created a report, taking to their Board of Education meeting, and they showed that this is what's going on to appeal for more staff. And what happened is, as you can guess, Boards of Education, they reviewed the information. They really appreciated the visual representation of the work that was being done. And they decided, perfect, let's get you some more staff. Let's help you out with what you got going on. So again, it's a nice way to say, hey, we're doing some really cool work and this is the stuff we're doing, but we may need more and this is why. Really sets up that really great case. Another one, this is a really nice one from, again, a K-12 education district. You're looking at friendly competition. Now, we all know our workforce is better than I do, so this is something that, you know, could be sensitive, but it's the idea of a friendly camaraderie between staff. You can set them up on friendly competitions, whether it's benefits or like a gift card or something, to where you're kind of driving that morale for that camaraderie. You can use that for real-time information on work order completions. As you can see from this mock, I'm edging out Luke Carr, and I might razz him a little bit for he needs 2 more work orders to be a champion, that kind of thing. This is more of a public case when it comes to employee kind of competition driving. There's also really great cases on the other side for more private employee development, performance initiative, things like that, where you're looking at their level of effort and level of work in a way that can provide meaningful impact for their performance reviews and development over time. There's a Zanger-Folkman study that was put together that said 72% of employees would really appreciate feedback from managers, and that kind of feedback would drive better performance from them having that feedback. So it's really important, if you're not using some of this data, to maybe think about incorporating some of it into performance reviews and or employee one-on-ones and engagement. The last use case I have is from a hospital setting, actually. But I've seen this in various customers as well, being K-12 and others. Hospital setting, what they found was they had a variety of budgets. A lot of places they were spending money, and a lot of places that were housing the different needs. What they did is they customized their trade and types for work orders to be allocated to specific budgets. And from there, they were able to essentially track the cost of that budget over time. You can kind of see from this graph, they were able to stack or filter based off their trade and type, the actual costs associated with those specific budgets. So they know in a real-time look, hey, I'm pulling $415 from this specific budget as opposed to $325 from another one. So it kind of helps with the bookkeeping side of things as well. So now we're going to quickly jump into a reporting demo, just kind of looking in the software itself and getting a sense of how this can work for us. So I'm currently in the Customer Success Training Building, Albertson Elementary. I'm in a specific school. Again, what we saw from the slide deck is we had that nice custom filter ability to get into a lot of different custom chunks of information. I can also, like it says currently, customize based off drop-downs for my dates. Similar with this reporting bar, priority work performed by type and trade, I can filter specifically to, let's go into a specific type of, let's say, electrical. Now this filter pops up, and all of my stats below reporting have adjusted to be specifically electrical. This can also stack. So I can look at specific electrical, and I can look in only preventative work orders for electrical. So again, you can stack this information to get a more zeroed down effect of what you're looking at. Also, when you're looking at source under reactive and preventative, you can choose, is it going to be a maintenance schedule, or did I self-identify, did I self-initiate that work order itself? So again, you can dial down even more narrow on the sources of information. Just like any of our other filter settings in AkitaBox, you can easily delete one or all of the filter types to go back to your main filter information. And then now we have all of our stats for Albertson Elementary. So we'll go real quick through basically all of these visual fields. Statistics, everything in here has a scroll over hover interactive feature. I'll show that in various visual representations, but you can look and it says average number of days between a work order being opened and completed. Albertson Elementary, we're not doing so hot at AkitaBox. We need to be a little bit quicker on our workflow. So don't hire us as maintenance techs. We probably wouldn't help you out very well. But you can kind of see what all these stats show. And if you're not sure what they mean, that hover over will give you a better sense of what they do mean. Again, as we go into activity, another reporting section, each hover over will show you, okay, this is what this next visual section is going to look like. Shows the number of open, completed, and canceled work orders over time. Again, in here, it's all hoverable and interactive. So I can scroll over here, 3 completed on February 11th. 34 completed February 18th. We had a busy day. You can also interact with this pretty simply by clicking and removing what you want to see. So I just want completed, easy. I can go to just completed, but I can get a full visual representation that's available under activity. Another visual section, work orders completed. This is where we start talking about stacks and filters. So on the left side, we have our filters. This is going to show me information, and every visual field is going to be specific and applicable to the filter available to it. So right now I have number completed, duration, days, costs, and hours logged. However, if I go down to another one, I'll have more options. Again, they're applicable, related to the specific data you're pulling. So again, we have work orders completed. With the stacks, we now have the ability to look at our trades and types and other ways to stack our information. You can kind of see how these scroll through. I can hover over and they highlight. Very simple to hover over. Similarly, I can hover over the graph itself and it's going to highlight. You can see down there, maintenance is now bold, and I have 21 completed maintenance requests under that trade. So this is a way to easily show different stacking for your work. And you can do that for a variety of things. Reactive, preventative, I can see my ratios there. This is a nice little pie that shows some information about the sources. So again, am I looking at the different percentages of reactive self-identified, service requests, maintenance schedules, and preventative self-identified. This thing will vary based off what you're looking at for those sources. And again, the hover will explain that. Similarly, assignees, again, more information about who's doing what with filters and with stacks. Work performed by, now I'm going to start going a little bit faster, but you can kind of see what we've been talking about. Work performed by, names of who's been doing the work. Again, I can look at stacks of who's been doing the work related to what sort of thing. So me, maintenance tech, I've been doing a whole lot of maintenance requests, not a ton of move orders, and just a little bit of custodial, but you kind of track that down. Status, again, they'll show kind of your scheduled, overdue, completed, canceled. Trade, again, is where we can narrow down specific fields of the work that we're doing. Same thing with types. Priority, again, is a priority of the work orders themselves. And that is essentially a school's readout or a building's readout of work orders themselves. Again, down here, nice little important feature, that print feature. I can click that. That's going to give me, if it loads, it's thinking about it. Nice full page presentations of these works. Now you may have to change some of your printer settings around for this. Every printer is a little bit different, so we can't necessarily speak to that, but changing those around will give you that ability to have these available anytime you need. Last but not least, I'm going to show the difference between the specific building and all buildings. So I'm going to go into our training area, all buildings themselves. And really, all of this stays relatively the same as far as what we're looking at. However, we now have the building section. So the visual field of our building section, again, with all of the filters that allow us to pull some powerful information, and all of the stacks to allow us to take a look at what we're doing per building across the board. So again, you're building on that axis at the bottom, stacked up with the various trades, types, and information you have going on in there. So I'm going to jump back to the slide deck. And I know I went pretty quickly through this, but again, it's a nice high-level piece. And now we'll have a little bit of time directed towards questions. And I hope you enjoyed the beautiful Akita hanging out in the snow. That's actually me this morning, because it's, I think, 3 degrees outside where I am. So hopefully you're somewhere sunnier. So let's talk questions. All right, so it looks like, is it possible to go by assignee name to see all current and completed work orders? Yes, so that's part of the stackable option and part of the assignee visual representation related to your different work orders. So you can go into specific buildings and or all buildings and look at assignee based off what is current and completed for them. So that's very true. If that is a little murky as far as how to do that, Customer Success Manager is happy to show you exactly the step-by-step to get into that. We also have unable to pull a report for all buildings by utilizing priority and assignee when a specific, yeah, okay. So when a specific building is picked, let me quickly go back to that deck and or the report and I'll show you. So we're currently in all buildings. That's a very great point. These are grayed out. And that is basically showing that you are pulling information about all of your work orders for all of your buildings. However, different buildings may have different types of trades and they may be pulling different information. And so because of that, in order to limit that kind of backlog of information, we had that grayed out to allow for to not have access to it for that pull. However, there's still ways you can find this information without this filter by going into the specific areas. So right now I have assignees. I have all the assignees that I would have, so I don't necessarily need to filter by assignee here. I have them already. So that sort of thing. So it is not available in the all buildings, this top tab. Very good point. But it is still ways you can pull that information. Great questions, everybody. Let's see what else we got. Can you download and print a single report? Currently it prints all. Will it ever allow you to double click on a report to see the details for a specific result? So the current download print a single, do you want to answer? Oh, just, okay. The current printout for a single report, that would be under printer settings. So you can absolutely adjust your printer settings to print a single page. Currently it's set up to print all of them, and it's very simple to adjust depending on the printer driver. You know, all printers are a little bit different, but in the printer settings, you can choose to select a specific page, and that specific page will print out the report that you're looking for. Will it ever allow you to double click on a report to see the details for a specific result? I'm guessing, are we talking about the hover effects? Is that what we're referring to? Go ahead. Tomissa is going to come over and have a beautiful answer.
Hi, it looks like Michelle is the person who had asked this. I think if I understand your question correctly, you're looking to like click into the report and then see the specific work orders or service requests related to that. That is something that AkitaBox would like to do in the future, but it is currently not something that we are actively working on. And we really appreciate your feedback for this right now.
Yes.
We also have a couple of other questions that have come through that we're going to be answering live right now. Tim asked, is there a way offhand to download reports as a CSV file or any other way to download as to drop into a spreadsheet or database? Tim, yes, you are able to do that, but you won't be doing that from the reporting module itself. You would be doing that from list view for those service requests and work orders. So if you have any further questions on how to download data from list view for those service requests and work orders, you can work with your customer success manager directly to answer that. Hopefully that helps and makes sense. We had also an anonymous question that came in asking about benchmarking data for market segments for higher ed, K-12, and healthcare, etc. Currently, we do not have any benchmarking data within AkitaBox at this time for you to kind of map where you are against what that typical market segment has. But I imagine that you'd be able to find that information of what that data looks like through a really good Google search.
So Madison had a question about average hours to complete. What if a tech is waiting on parts? Can he put in a work order on? Can he put a work order on hold to stop the clock so hours to complete doesn't grow? The hours to complete is actually something that is logged in the work. So if, for example, I did an assessment on a piece of machinery and that took me an hour due to an assessment, and I ordered parts, I could log that hour. And then the clock isn't really ticking on that work order until I log more work. So then when I receive the parts, perhaps I install those parts and do another assessment. That could take another hour. I would log that work itself. Now, if you're talking about duration in days to complete, that would be something that you could create another work order, close one out and create another one, or extend the due date for that work order. And that would still just show the information related to waiting on the parts. Again, in notes and log work, you can specify why that work order itself was delayed, because typically we know that we don't have all the parts we need offhand. So it's very simple to kind of just categorize for yourself. All right. Can you set up the print default to show the date range on each page? That is a great feature. That is something that currently does not exist with the reporting itself. We have the date range at the top bar of the reports, and then everything else would be segmented down. So that is a great and fabulous feature that we can talk to our product team about, having that sort of being the top header. So currently no, but that's something we can absolutely look into. It's a great feedback point. Is there a way to run reports for open and completed work orders for each person and technician? I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly to answer it correctly. Is there a way to run reports for open and completed work orders for each person and technician? Yes, so that would be something that's done more in the list view. Your customer success manager is happy to walk through that process with you, but essentially you could filter by the person and technician under the work orders themselves, and then do an export for that Excel file or CSV file to have all of that information in one spreadsheet. That wouldn't necessarily be something that would happen in the reporting. You could get a visual feel for that. You could go to the assignee of that technician and then look into their stats for a visual representation. But if you wanted more details about the work orders themselves, that would be the export from the list view. Great question, Mark. I don't even have one. I have to go around and find one. Where do you get one of those cool AkitaBox Yeti looking cups that were in the photo before the webinar started? We have to open up a AkitaBox Yeti looking cup shop and see what we can do if you guys want some swag. If there's no more questions, we're nearing right around that half-hour mark. Again, if you have more specific questions, or if we don't have time to answer them now, absolutely feel free to contact. If I'm your customer success manager, awesome, you're a lucky duck. Feel free to contact me. If you don't know who your customer success manager is, let's figure that out. Contact me. If you have any support or any need for support for the software itself, contact Jess. If you know who your customer success manager is, contact them for any information related to more walkthroughs, more specific information about reporting. But I hope this is valuable for you. At the end of this, you will be receiving a survey and the recorded copy of this webinar itself. The survey is very important for us. We really hope you fill it out. It's something that helps drive us create more of this content for you. We want to be able to hit the target on the things that is powerful and useful for you. These webinars are not going to stop. We're going to continue to doing them and want to continue to improve them for the experiences you guys have and what your need. So feel free to absolutely answer that survey for us, and that'll help direct us for future webinars. So thank you so much for your patience and time. We're really excited we kicked this one off with reporting, and we're looking forward to seeing you all in the future. Thanks so much for coming by.